Hello and welcome back to Williams Return to Glory. This is episode 10. In this episode, we got a couple things that we're going to need to do before we go to Singapore. Also, the other race that we're doing is Suzuka. Joining you from the pit crew screen, I'm just going to run through this like usual and swap out some people and hire some new people. Alright, so looking at the pit crew, I think that's the best we're going to get it for the moment. So looking at the mail, we have stuff from the last Grand Prix. Looking here, we got an interview with Lee Diffie. After his victory today, what are your thoughts on Charles Leclerc? Just compliment and ass kiss, and hopefully he can join us at some point in the future. So from the parts screen, looking over here, you can kind of see where our parts are. We're not too far off in everything except for brakes, where we're above average, which is good. We just got our new engine in, and I think we're gonna just start building our next engine, and I think we're gonna go for a engine that uses risk level wisely, to where we can just kind of immediately come out the gate with performance. And if we get caught with it, it doesn't matter that we didn't develop it. So we're just going to go for the maximum current performance right here. All right, so this is the part that we came up with. The reason why I went with this particular thing here is just the time. I want to have this ready for the next race after Singapore, and this kind of gives us the highest initial performance out of the gate without taking too many days. So this is the engine that we're going to build, and hopefully it is ready for the next race. So from the parts screen, you kind of see the new engine that we had come in the last or the beginning of this episode. We have a very high ceiling on the performance, and we need to work on it before it can even overtake our previous engine we made. And even the engine before it is still better than that one. So yeah, we are going to probably not even bring this engine to the racetrack. Alright, so joining you from the sponsorship screen, we have 3-star sponsor appeal. I think that's down from the beginning of the year. Let's go see who wants to be on the car. Alright, so out of the sponsors currently available, unfortunately, it has to be Rich Energy still on the car for the next 17 races. So this is going to carry on into our next season. So for those interested, here is the Formula 2 results. You have Tepe Notori winning the F2 race at Zandvoort. You have Ayumu Iwasa in second place, and you have Ralph Boschong in third. Looking here at the results. So you can see here in the championship standings, Dennis Hauger is now a full race ahead of Logan Sargent, who is in second place currently. With this being the 11th round, he's only got 3 races to gain back on that. He's got a maximum of it looks like 78 points that he can gain on Hauger, but it all depends on how many points that Hauger scores. Looking at your team championship, Carlin are securing themselves in first place. The battle between them and Prema is close. Like I said, 3 races remaining, and there's still a lot of points on the table. Moving on to Formula 3, you have Roman Stenek, Matteo Nannini, and you have Louis Foster on the podium. I'm going to slowly scroll through these results. Yeah, Bent Viscal, Smolyar, Ito Cohen, and I just heard it today. I think it's properly pronounced Kai Colette. I think I was calling him Chow Colette. Yeah, I think he's a little bit out of the battle, Colette, but Viscal, Smolyar, and Cohen are just completely tied together, and there's 2 races left, so this is going to be very, very interesting to kind of see who comes out on top. Looking over at the Constructors' Championship, also very close. Carlin leading F2 and F3. Typically, that's Prema's job, but Prema is doing very bad this season in F3. So looking ahead to Singapore, parts important for this weekend are the gearbox, the brakes, and the front wing. And if you look at the car performance, our gearbox isn't terrible, our brakes are fairly good compared to the field, and our front wing is not too far off. Hopefully we can kind of do okay, and we can kind of start fighting people in that race instead of us kind of hoping for things to go our way. I could be completely wrong, but let's head on to the Singapore Grand Prix. Getting ready for practice, we're going to focus on the soft tire. Of course, we will fast forward through practice. Alright, so looking into qualifying, we have qualifying trim in sweeter spots. We're going to send out Albon on the used soft tire just to kind of check his setup. Did a light tweak on Latifi, so we're going to send him out for a lap, but we're going to send Albon out for a quick send in. Alright, so Latifi has just started his lap. We're going to check Albon's setup. Alright, we messed with Albon's setup, so we're just going to watch Latifi's lap here, and it looks like it's going to get screwed up by the McLaren and the Red Bull. Alright, so he finishes. Let's go check out Albon's lap. So Latifi is 3.9 off. Let's see what Albon can do. He's 18th, so he's only 2.6 off, so Albon's really off the pace. Or Latifi's really off the pace. Alright, so we're going to send out Latifi. Now we're going to send out Albon. Alright, so both of them are perfect, so if we're going to have a good shot here at advancing to Q2, this might be it. Alright, and none of them were even close. Alright, so those eliminated in Q1 were Sebastian Vettel, Mick Schumacher, Lance Stroll, Alex Albon, and Nicholas Latifi. So after Q2, Valtteri Bottas, Yuki Tsunoda, Esteban Ocon, Guan Yu Zhou, and Kevin Magnussen are eliminated. Alright, let's see who starts on pole for the Singapore Grand Prix. Alright, it looks like the typical Verstappen-Leclerc 1-2. Alright, so on the grid for Singapore, we are going to focus on the soft tire, like I've said before in the race. We're not going to alternate the strategy here. I think the soft tire is kind of the preferred thing to go with because it is a 42 lap race. I think we can stretch these to 21 laps apiece. This is going to be the driver's strategy, at least for the first lap. Tire temperatures are going to be very critical. We're going to probably be bouncing around neutral and conserve because just the tire temperatures are a little bit crazy. So, on to the starting grid. So your starting grid for Singapore is Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, Sergio Perez, Carlos Sainz, Lando Norris, George Russell, Daniel Ricciardo, Fernando Alonso, Pierre Gasly, Valtteri Bottas, Yuki Tsunoda, Esteban Ocon, Guan Yu Zhou, Kevin Magnussen, Sebastian Vettel, Mick Schumacher, Lance Stroll, and Alex Albon and Nicholas Latifi. Alright, so 5 red lights, and we're going to need to manage these tires very quickly. We already have people conserving straight out of the gate. Alright, I'm going to immediately put them on a neutral because these tires are crazy. And they'll even heat up under neutral, so just really need to keep an eye on that. Speaking of, we're just going to put it on high engine mode so we can hopefully stay on that for a majority of the race. if Latifi falls all the way back to last place, I'm going to have him just conserve. And then I'm going to let him just go neutral for a while. He's still holding on ahead of Stroll. Albon into 14th. Alright, our temperatures are just kind of ticking over. So we're in the conserved territory. Just kind of keep our tires from being overheated. We're gonna have some people pitting ahead of us in the next couple laps. It's like somebody got a penalty of some sorts. Latifi still being able to keep Lance Stroll behind him. So we're going to hold this until we hit 1 lap. Or actually, we could probably push to about 1.5 just because there's a very high likelihood we'll get lapped at this track specifically. Because we can hold it on conserve for a while we have the engine mode on high. Kind of helps us keep the tire temperatures down, and then we can kind of switch over to neutral. And the leaders are about halfway around the track, so we got pit stops ahead of us. None to our advantage. Latifi's been able to jump 2 spots due to pit stops, but looks like those are not going to be very helpful. Alright, we're going to put him on neutral. Neutral. Kind of let those tire temperatures raise up. Hopefully not too much. So we needed to make these last until lap 21, and we're going to cross over that period. So we are going to actually attack Nicholas Latifi here and have him box this lap. And we're going to have Albon extend. And if he comes out last, I'm going to have him, and he does come out last, we're going to have him conserve. Alright. Temperatures look to be getting up there. So we are going to... Screwed, we're going to pit Albon this lap. And we're going to have him conserve out of the box. Because we have a problem on one of our wheels. That was not ideal. Alright. So we've got Schumacher behind us. We're going to back up. So I want to just have him go immediately onto neutral. And just kind of coast on a decent mode here for a while. Looks like Latifi's about to get lapped. Alright, now we can go in neutral. Alright. We're going to let them just go neutral, medium here in the engine mode. Because you see Latifi here is just gotten lapped. And we're going to hold that until we have to start conserving our tires. It does look like we have a couple people ahead of us that are going to have to pit, and Albon might be able to overtake. So we've got Vettel right behind us. Alright. Yeah, Latifi's so far off at the moment, we'll just have him kind of go conserve. And high. We'll go to about like 0.2 on the fuel there. All right. Okay, so we're gonna go on to neutral and medium because we're about to get overtaken by the first place car of Charles Leclerc. All right, and now we're let by, so we can go on conserve and medium. And then we got another blue flag, so we're gonna conserve. We're gonna have him on neutral. So I'm just trying to conserve when we have the blue flag, because we're gonna have to let off anyways. Then we can do this. In between the times when we can kind of take advantage of it. Alright, so Thiefy is good. Alright, so he's got that, so we can go low, back up. He's for second. Who is that? That is Lewis Hamilton. That does not look like a Mercedes from this distance. Alright, so we can kind of go neutral, this, go high even, just to... Oh, come on. Alright, screw it, we're gonna go overtake. Hopefully we can get by the Aston there. Ah, come on. Alright, we're gonna get the blue flag here pretty soon. Alright, we're gonna do this and we're gonna conserve into the blue flag. It's the most micromanagey race I've had so far in terms of... Alright, so we've got the Haas behind us. Now we can start to push because we should have Vettel, or we were supposed to get Vettel there. Yeah, we're kind of ignoring Latifi, but Latifi is so far behind it really doesn't even matter necessarily to me. We can just kind of put him on high here for a little bit as we go back to Albon, who's still trying to stay ahead of Schumacher. We got 3 laps left. 3 laps. I don't think we can stay on neutral for. We see 16th right ahead of us is starting to back up to us, but alright, we're on the final lap here. I feel comfortable going on neutral. And we can have Fifi kind of burn up his fuel here. And 17th. 20th. So here are your results for the Singapore Grand Prix. Yeah, I know I made that little speech about kind of the car performance and how potentially we could be able to kind of do good because we've got parts on our car that are better suited to this track. We were able to fight genuinely with, you know, our comparable rivals. But yeah, it just didn't kind of turn out in the race. Your points finishers are Pierre Gasly, Yuki Tsunoda, Lando Norris, Daniel Ricciardo, George Russell, Carlos Sainz, Sergio Perez. Your podium, Hamilton, Verstappen, and your winner, Charles Leclerc. So looking at your Drivers' Championship, we have no change to kind of the bottom here. Looking through, you've got Russell, who's moved ahead of Lando Norris. And yeah, Leclerc is starting to close in, or he has been closing in on Verstappen, but 55 points out, with uh, 5 races remaining. It's a bit of an ask, especially with Verstappen kind of finishing behind him, but it's definitely still on the cards for Leclerc. Looking at the team standings, nothing really that stands out. Really, just still kind of the same pecking order. Maybe AlphaTauri is a little bit more ahead of Alpha and a little bit less behind Alpine, but yeah, same old, same old. Leaving Singapore, we actually leave with 1.3 million. Not sure why the expenses are that high. Maybe it has something to do with the pit crew. So looking on to the next race, you see we've got Suzuka here, and it's dry practice, dry quali, but wet race. Once again, from the pit crew screen, just gonna run through this real quick and kind of correct it. Alright, so looking at the pit crew, this has been fully rotated. We didn't hire anybody this time. Alright, so from the mail, stuff about Verstappen and Leclerc. Here's our interview. Valtteri Bottas' agent has been telling reporters all over town that you're interested in signing this client next season. Is this true? Not somebody I was looking at, but potentially we could. Right, so as you saw, we had a really short week lead up till Suzuka, so we weren't able to kind of get any of the parts that we, or the part that we built for the engine, so we are just heading straight into Suzuka. Lavazza, as always, is your 10.55 tire selection, and went through and gave Latifi a better part because we had the new engine that came in that had a low current point score, so that got put on Latifi, and until it kind of surpasses the new engine, it'll be on Latifi's car. So from Suzuka, we're going to focus on the soft tire. I know we typically go for the medium tire in the range, but yeah, it's just the middle tire is closer in performance or speed to the softer tire, but just with our car's pace, we need to kind of have the softer tire on the car, because you see the speed difference between these two. It's like, I'd like to be on this one, but I don't think our pace kind of can make this work. But anyways, we'll fast forward through practice. Alright, so after practice, we were 20th and 14th, and top of the board was Max Verstappen. Heading into qualifying, we're going to put Albon on the qualifying trim and Latifi on the super soft tire performance increase. And we're going to put sweeter spots on just because I feel like that's aided us a little bit with our qualifying efforts. Alright, so Nicholas Latifi comes out of the final corner to start his lap. Let's see, well, we're not going to know where they are, but let's just see how far back they are. Alright, so currently 3.3 and 4 seconds off. Alright, still bottom of the board. We're really far off. Alright, we're going to send Latifi out, 2 minutes 10. And we're going to send Albon out at 2 minutes. Alright, so Latifi starts his lap. Let's kind of see what they can do. Alright, so Albon is up. Latifi was up middle sector. And we did not gain on our times. So following Q1, Mick Schumacher, Guan Yu Zhou, Lance Stroll, Alex Albon, and Nicholas Latifi were eliminated. Following Q2, Lando Norris, Carlos Sainz, Pierre Gasly, Daniel Ricciardo, and Sebastian Vettel were eliminated. Alright, in Q3, let's see who goes on pole, and you see that we have Magnussen in Q3 as well. In your front row is Verstappen and Leclerc. Okay, so on the grid for the Japanese Grand Prix, if we look here at the weather, it looks like we're going to get rain in kind of at the lap, I'm going to guess like 13 mark. It also looks like it's going to dry out at about lap 32. I'm going to go on two different strategies here. I'm going to put Albon on the harder compound, and we're going to put Latifi on the softer compound. That says lap 10, but I'm going to guess and say that's closer, like I said, to probably about lap 13. So I'm going to risk it on Latifi, just kind of having him last until that point. And hopefully one of the two are on the better strategy. So looking here at the starting grid, Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, Sergio Perez, George Russell, Fernando Alonso, Yuki Tsunoda, Esteban Ocon, Valtteri Bottas, Kevin Magnussen, Lando Norris, Carlos Sainz, Pierre Gasly, Daniel Ricciardo, Sebastian Vettel, Mick Schumacher, Guan Yu Zhou, Lance Stroll, and Alex Albon and Nicholas Latifi. Alright, so from the 5 red lights here, it looks like we've got a couple cars that are on foreign tires for some reason. So we are going to let this run out, and we're going to see what happens here. Alright, so Albon immediately is kind of getting those tire temperatures up too much. We're going to put both of them onto high so they can kind of maintain pace. Yeah, it looks like the super soft was probably the better option here. We're going to back up our tires for a little bit. We're going to go back onto neutral soon. We're going to go into neutral right here. Yeah, hopefully some of these people have to pit before that window opens up to kind of switch over onto the rain tire. Yeah, Latifi's starting to heat up those tires. Same for Albon. Alright, we're holding 17th here. Looks like Vettel's going to probably pit this lap. He does. So we've got time on a couple people behind us. I'm not sure why some of these people are on foreign tires at the start of the race. Alright, we're going to put Albon and Latifi onto neutral. It's like Latifi's kind of under pressure from Stroll. Gonna keep an eye on the forecast here. And we're going to let them push to about 1.3 on the fuel delta as we're catching. Oh, some people are already pitting onto the intermediates on a dry racetrack. So it means probably going to rain this lap. So it looks like, unfortunately, I'm going to pit Latifi now, despite me thinking that this is probably not a good idea. We're going to have him push into the box. We're going to let Albon kind of conserve his tires because his temperatures are starting to get up there. Alright, so we need to put him onto neutral, kind of see what the inners are going to do here. Alright, it's damp. And I'm going to probably pause it here. Kind of see what I need to do here. Yeah, Latifi's already starting to kind of get temperature in those tires. I need to kind of keep an eye on that. Yeah, I think we're going to have to just box in Albon here. Alright, Albon is in. Alright, we're going to have him go on to neutral. An even conserve. We're in 14th place at the moment. Yeah, these intermediate tires are just absolutely heating up very quickly. We're going to put both of these guys onto medium. Let them conserve. Alright, and it looks like we are going to get a dry end to the race, so hopefully we can stretch these out for this entire dry period. But these tires look like they're only going to last, 19 to 21 laps, and we pitted about 3 laps to go. So we are probably going to be able to make it here, especially if we were just kind of conserving. Alright, so we've got the 16th place car of Bottas on our ass, so we are going to put him on neutral. We're going to let Latifi kind of conserve here. I'm going to hope that some of these people have to maybe double stop on the inters. Oh, are you kidding me? Speaking of double stopping on the inters, it looks like we are going to have to do that for Albon, who is kind of our main horse at the moment. That is absolute shame. Thank you, Bottas. Thanks a lot, buddy. Alright, so we're going to have Albon conserve for... yeah, just do complete conserve for... until his tires get about there. We're going to neutral. We're going to go into neutral with Latifi. Absolute bummer. You're in 14th place, and now we've lost 30 seconds because of that damage. It's a real gut punch there. Maybe we can make something work here on the crossover, but I feel like that's a little too straightforward to kind of mess up for the lappers here, as we're getting blue flags here. First time this race. We'll just kind of keep our fuel on us as we're having our race bludgeoned to death. Yeah, really not happy with how that just played out. We are 19th and 20th. A bunch of blue flags. We're going to lose a whole bunch of time. Kind of look at the weather here. I'm going to... we're going to make 13 laps here. So I think we're going to pit Latifi just to put him on one strategy. Have him pit. Have him conserve, but we're going to let him attack in. We're going to put Albon on attack. Gonna keep an eye on Latifi. Yeah. Need to be pitting this lap. I understand, but we need to pit. Alright, we're going to have him conserve and go into overtake. We're a bunch of blue flags, so we're not even going to be able to defend. Oh man, this is gut punch. Try not to be so negative, but getting screwed here. Yeah, I'm just going to go on the soft tire just because. Yeah, we're about 4, 5-ish seconds off of Zhou. We're going to put Latifi onto neutral. We're also going to let him go on our neutral, on our medium, on the engine. Alright, we're going to let Albon go neutral. We're actually gonna let him push. Kind of see what happens here with the tires. I think the tires are gonna heat up too much, so we're just gonna let him go on neutral. Yeah, it looks like we're still going to start getting blue flags here, and that's just not good. Kind of holding even with Joe, but it's like we can't like really push to kind of even get close enough to really even do anything. So I'm just going to conserve. Just go push. Go meet high. See if we can do anything, but he's on newer tires. Yeah, I need to conserve. Alright, the race is ending. Let him do that. Go into neutral. -1.01. Gotta keep an eye on Latifi. Its engine. And we finish very disappointingly 19th and 20th. So looking at the results for the Japanese Grand Prix, I felt like we had a decent shot there of kind of being able to pull out a strategy that could see us maybe tickle where the points are, but we had an incident with Valtteri Bottas, who was penalized for breaking off our rear wing, and we finished 19th and 20th. Our points scorers for the race were Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Alonso, Norris, Leclerc. Leclerc all the way down into 6th place. That's not good for his championship because we've got Perez, Sainz, your podium, Hamilton, Russell, and your winner, unfortunately, for Charles Leclerc is Max Verstappen. So all those races he just put together to have kind of a charge back, he just gave up a large portion of those. Looking at the Drivers' Championship, nothing has changed here for the bottom 6 group of no points. Looking at the top, Leclerc got that down to, I think, maybe being about 50-some points behind. It's all the way up to 71 points behind. So, yeah, just one bad race for him, and he's now really got to put together 4 good races to finish off this season. Looking at the constructors, I do believe Red Bull are very close to being able to clinch the World Drivers' Championship mathematically. We're starting to kind of get a spreading here between Alpine, Alpha, and AlphaTauri and Alfa Romeo, to where I don't think these positions are going to change. And then I still think at the bottom here, we got one shock result, and we can kind of see a moving of the pecking order between Haas and ourselves. Alright, so leaving Suzuka, we have $1.3 million added to the bank. So that concludes today's episode. Very disappointing way to kind of finish out that last race with the problems we had with the rear wing damage from the contact. Really kind of, we've been waiting for these opportunities to kind of have those changeable conditions to where we can hopefully, find ourselves up the grid or, capitalize on other teams' mismanagement. And that felt like one of those races, and for us to kind of have that contact come in is disappointing. That's racing. A lot of unfortunate things happen when think they shouldn't, but in reality, that's why you race. You race to kind of have these storylines play out naturally without any external influences and kind of good fortune or what else you might call it. But yeah, if you enjoyed today's video, like, comment, subscribe, all that dumb YouTuber stuff, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your week.